Welcome to Literally My Life, My Guide to Girlhood, the podcast where we have honest, unfiltered conversations about success, self-growth, and navigating the complexities of life as a young woman. I'm your host, Alexandra Lamine, journalist, model, influencer, talk show host, and storyteller. I created this podcast to be the guide I wish I had, one that speaks to the highs, the lows, and everything in between. Here we break down real-life challenges from self-sabotage and ambition to relationships and mental health, all while embracing the journey of becoming our best selves. My goal is to empower and inspire you through my own experiences, the story of others, and the lessons we're all still learning. So whether you're here for advice, motivation, or just a space where you feel seen, welcome. And let's get into it. Hi everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of Literally My Life, My Guide to Girlhood. I am so excited to be back in the studio today. I'm so excited to be talking to you guys today. I'm just really excited to be back. I took last week off because I'm going to give you guys some unfortunate news. So today's episode will be a 2-part series. So you guys will get an episode on Monday, April 20th, and you guys will get an episode on Monday, May 5th. And then I'm going to take a little break. We've already gotten renewed for season 3. But I'm going to take a little break just to make sure that I'm giving everything I can to this podcast. I feel like season 2 is a lot better than season 1. But I feel like season 2 also, I could have prepared for stuff more. I could have had better guests. I could have booked better things. I feel like it could have been better had I given it more time. And I just feel like I wasn't giving it enough time. I wasn't treating it with the priority that it deserved to be treated. And I just need some time off to just kind of focus on my life. I have something really cool that I'm working on that's kind of an extension of the Alex Lamine show. I just have so many really cool projects, and those are going to need my attention for a little bit, but I promise we will be back for season 3. We're getting another trip around the sun, and I'm just so excited to chronicle my life with you guys, okay? So for those of you who are new here, I know I have an introduction, but my name is Alexandra Lamine. I'm a 17-year-old high school student about to go to college. I'm a senior, and I'm here to guide you guys through all things girlhood. I'm here to be that big sister that I wish I had at 13, 14, 15, those really young adolescent years. I had to roll my eyes thinking about it. It was a lot. And for those of you who are new to this podcast and don't know me, my birthday is April 30th. So my birthday is this upcoming Wednesday. And don't worry, guys, there's so much birthday content coming ahead. So make sure to follow our Instagram, to follow our TikTok, to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're listening on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, because we have so much content for my birthday coming up, guys. So much birthday content, so much. So I'm very excited for that. But I was thinking, you know what, I'm turning 18. I'm gonna be an adult. Oh my god, it's crazy, because when I started this podcast, I was 16 years old, and I was sitting in my bed, and I was bored, and I was like, let me start a podcast. And now I'm 18, and I don't want to get emotional, but I've just gotten so much from this podcast. I've gained such a beautiful community of people that have supported me. I've gained my sports journalism. I've gained so much, and you guys have been able to see me grow so much this past year and a half-ish now. I've given my life to God, and I've made so many new friends and lost so many people and gained so much, and I've really been able to turn my life around. And I think this podcast was a big part of that. So thank you to everybody who listens every week. Thank you to everybody who's ever sent me a kind message. Just those messages that I get in my DMs of I love your podcast. I listen to your podcast. I relate to it so much. Those things really keep me going. So thank you. So for today's episode, I thought it would be really cool if I did 17 things that I wish I knew at 17. So we're going to split this up into 2 parts. I'm going to do parts 1 through 9 and then 9 through 17 in next week's episode. But 17 was such a bittersweet year. Let me catch you up. I turned 17 in outpatient recovery for my anti-inflammatory disease that was caused by a lot of stress that I dealt with at school. And it was fun. I had an okay birthday. I had a really good bowling party with my friends. Let's see what else happened when I was 17. I went to a really cool Meg Thee Stallion concert and went on my first blind date, which turned out to be horrible. I had one of the funnest summers ever until I had a nervous breakdown. Had to go to a PHP program, which I openly talked about on here, and I had my nervous breakdown on here. So if you guys want to scroll back to season 1, you'll see my nervous breakdown. Once I got past that nervous breakdown a little bit, I went back to in-person school, and I talked about how much I hated senior year until I learned to love it and made my best friend, Jada. Shout out to you, Jada. I became a football manager of my high school team, randomly got baptized and gave my life to God, which was the best decision of my life. Started interviewing after a spontaneous interview with Jonas Williams. I started interviewing athletes. Now I'm a sports journalist. God's plans for us are so different than ours, but it's the career for me. What else happened? I had a really cool Christmas. I continued to interview. The new year has been great. I've made some friends, lost some friends, and I've just learned so much about myself. And now I'm about to be 18. What a baby. So let's get into my first one, okay? And I wrote them all down, okay? The first one, God's plan for you is greater than anything you could plan for yourself, okay? I wish someone had told me that. I wish somebody had told me that. Last year, I wish somebody had told me that. At 16, I wish somebody had told me that at 15. Because when I was 15, I dealt with a really socially traumatic situation with a guy, and I was so hurt when it happened because it felt like my reputation was ruined. It felt like my life was over. It felt like nothing good was going to happen for me ever again. Like, that's what it felt like, because it was like, everybody hates me. I'm a slut. Like, I'm a whore. I'm a horrible person. Like, I just thought my life was over. I really did think, yeah, it's over. And then I got sick the year after, and I thought I was going to die. And I thought my life was going to take such a tragic ending. You know what I mean? I thought it was just going to be horrible. But with those people, especially that guy, intended to harm me, God intended it for my good. Because if that had not happened, I would not be in front of you right now talking to you on this mic. This podcast has saved my life multiple times. If that did not happen, I would not be interviewing. If that did not happen, I probably wouldn't have the connections that I have to interview. I wouldn't even get the following that I have, because most people know me because of that socially traumatic situation. But I've turned it around, because that was part of God's plan for me. Like, I don't want to cry. I don't want to be one of those people, because I really don't want to cry this episode, because there's this guy in my computer science class who says, like, people at school laugh at me when I cry. But I really think that was meant to happen to me. Like, I was so devastated when it happened, but I'm really glad that it happened, because I would not be the person that I am today had it not happened. And so growing up, I always imagined some kind of like career for myself. I've always been up and down on it. But let me tell you, sports journalism, it never crossed my mind. Never crossed my mind. Podcasting, never crossed my mind. These were just like ideas that I had. The Holy Spirit just like planted these ideas in me, and I just ran with them. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I'll start a podcast. Okay, let me interview Jonas Williams and Talon Taylor and just see where this goes. I never thought these would be careers, but they're careers, and I love my career. I love what I do. It is like the best thing to ever happen to me. Like, besides giving my life to God, obviously, but God's plan for me was so much bigger than the plan I had for myself, you know, because I didn't really have a plan. I didn't even have a plot for my friends, fans out there. And yeah, I wrote some notes down for it. Let me emphasize those notes. I wrote, trust in his timing and know that he has something bigger and better than anything you can ever imagine for yourself. So if you're listening to this and you're like, you know what, I feel like I'm 16 and everybody knows what they're doing, or everybody's in a relationship, or I just don't know what's going to happen with my life, I promise you everything gets better, because God has this funny way of like making beautiful things out of like a mess. God has this beautiful way of, I'm trying to find the words for it, of just making simplicity out of confusion. Because I had no idea what was going to happen with my life. I had no idea what was going to happen with my social life. I just had no idea what was going to happen. And those same people, I've said this multiple times, I hate to be that person because I don't hold a grudge, but those same people who taunted me, they don't want an interview these days. And I've interviewed a few. Not going to say names, but we're going to move on now. Number 2, you don't need to have everything figured out, okay? I wrote, it's okay not to know what the future holds. God's plan will reveal itself in his timing. Trust the process and enjoy the journey. I think I put a lot of pressure on myself as I would say a sophomore to know everything. If you had gone back to sophomore year me, I couldn't even deal with a B. I was like one of those people, right? And I was like, I'm going to go to Yale and I'm going to have everything figured out. I'm going to become a criminal defense attorney and my life is just going to be perfect and whatever. Spoiler alert, didn't get into Yale. Didn't get into Yale. Super sad about that. And I was so stressed out because I felt like I needed to figure everything out at 16. Like, girl, you're 16, sit down. Like, go watch a movie. Like, you don't have to be studying to the death because things are going to change. And change is beautiful. Like, I feel like that kind of expands to the second thing I would say. Like, change is beautiful. Like, it is okay for things to change. Not everything's going to stay the same forever. I think sometimes when we're younger, we have everything, like, set in stone for what we want our lives to look like. We have what we want our futures to look like, what we want our spouses to look like, or whatever. And God's laughing at your plans because his is much better, okay? You don't need to have everything figured out. You need to just have faith in God, okay? It's hard because you're like, I trust God's timing. I just wish I knew what it was. Get it? I'm your girl. I totally get it right now. But I have faith in God. I know he's going to work everything out because when has he let you down before? When has he really let you down before? He hasn't, okay? Let's get into thing number 3. You are more than your mistakes. You're not defined by your past. Every new day is a chance to grow and be better. Keep moving forward. I have struggled with a lot of shame. That's something I wish I had talked about a little bit more. But learning that I'm more than the mistakes I've made and learning to not let shame consume me and to move past things has helped me so much. I wish somebody could go back in time and tell me that, like, forgiveness is a part of moving on. Because I used to genuinely believe, like, you didn't have to forgive or forget to move on from anything. But that's true. Like, you have to. And it's so hard to forgive ourselves. I couldn't forgive myself, and I still struggle to forgive myself for some things because, I used to be that person that self-sabotaged. I was that person that messed up opportunities for myself. I was that person that was, like, putting myself, like, in bad cycles. To this day, I have issues, like, setting boundaries and doing stuff. And I was mad at myself for so long because it was like, why did I mess up this opportunity? Why did I mess up this chance I had with a great guy? Why? But I genuinely think that everything that happens to me is a lesson. And sorry, I don't know why I'm, like, so upset about this one. Like, this one cut my cord and I wrote it. I genuinely believe that everything that happened to me was meant to happen to me to teach me a lesson, because I wouldn't have recognized all the self-sabotaging I was doing had I not had that opportunity in front of me. So, okay, yeah, maybe I messed it up, but I recognized that what I was doing. I turned away from my sin, and I'm turning away from it, and God's opening a new door for me, okay? So it's all going to work out. You're more than your mistakes. Learn to forgive yourself. Learn to let go of things. Because what do you really get out of hating yourself? I've said this for months. What do you really get out of baiting yourself? What do you really get out of dwindling on your mistakes for the rest of your life? Misery. And who wants to be miserable? I don't. I didn't like it when I was miserable. 4, don't be afraid to let go and let God. Okay, sometimes you need to stop trying to control everything and trust that God's got it. Peace comes when you release your worries to him. The other morning, I was crying before school. I was really stressed about something, and I was really, like, crying my eyes out. I was, like, late because I didn't want to, like, mess up my makeup, so I had to fix it all up. And I was crying before school. I was really hurt, right? And then I decided, I was like, let me say a prayer. I said this prayer, and then at the end of the prayer, because, we talked about how I've been learning to surrender things. I surrendered my heaviness. I surrendered my sadness. I surrendered it all to God. And I felt like a burden lifted off of my chest. And surrender is, like, not just a one-time thing. Like, every time you think about it, you surrender it again. Every time it comes back into your mind, every time you feel the heaviness about it, close your eyes and you surrender it again. You don't continue, like, you don't surrender it one time and think that it's over with, because we're humans. We're going to dwindle on things, especially if it's something that's big to us, right? So I just decided, I was like, you know what, God, I give this heaviness to you. I let it go to you. I let it be with you. And it felt so good. Like, when I tell you, I literally felt this physical burden, like, lifted off my chest and, like, transcend into the heavens. Like, I literally felt that, and it felt amazing. Do not be afraid to let go and let God be the rule of your life. It is so hard for us because we cannot physically see God. We cannot physically hear his voice. We cannot touch him. So we're like, how am I supposed to put my faith in somebody that I can't talk to and hear him talk back, and I can't run to him or whatever? But one of my favorite MLK quotes is, Faith is taking the first step when you Faith is taking the first step when you don't see the whole staircase. And that's what you have to do with God. Yeah, I can't touch God's garments. Yeah, I can't look at God. I'd go blind. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't physically hear his voice, but I trust in God because I've seen what he has done for my life. I have seen everything that he has done for me. And I'm so pleased by him. I'm so in awe of him. And I know that God's going to deliver for me. So I'm going to let go. I'm going to surrender my problems and I'm going to let God. I'm going to let God fix it because if I fix it, I'm going to jail. Number 5, people's opinions don't determine your worth. Now, that is something I wish somebody had told me. Let me read my notes. Your value comes from God, not from others. You are worthy, loved, and enough just as you are. I have struggled with people pleasing for years. I have always wanted people to like me. I've always wanted to be the person that was accepted. I've always wanted to be the girl that like everybody liked and wanted to be around and whatever. And unfortunately, that didn't work out like in the spaces that I wanted that to. Like most people who meet me like me, but some people don't, and that would really like cut me to the core and be like, oh my god, like you don't like me. But people's opinions about you don't matter because I literally heard this quote on TikTok. We keep chasing validation from a world that crucified a perfect man. Like, why do you want validation from a world that crucified a literal perfect man? Tortured him, bullied him, resented him, and he was absolutely perfect. Like nobody's perfect except for Jesus, and he lived on earth, and people hated him. People's opinions of you do not matter. God's opinion about you matters. I went through a relationship when I was younger, and I've talked about it on here a lot. I was probably like 14, 15-ish. And I met a guy, and I was totally infatuated with him. I was so obsessed with this guy. And this guy was harmful. He was so verbally abusive. He was just so horrible. He cheated on me, called me all kinds of names. He was just horrible to me, right? And I was so hurt because in a way I thought, because I held him to such a high standard, that his opinion of me was what I was. I thought he kind of like dictated what I was. It was like the only guy that I've ever really treasured or valued thinks that I'm a piece of crap. So I'm a piece of crap. It took me years, I'm talking years, to get out of that thinking. It took me years to realize that the way he treated me had nothing to do with me and everything to do with the fact that he couldn't accept a good thing when he had it. And that I am not a piece of scum, but I'm a beautiful woman in Christ, okay? He who finds a wife finds a good thing, okay? And he messed up a really good thing. I just chased his opinion and his validation for years. And then when I found God's, it was like, step away. Actually, he was cut off way before I found God, but you know what I mean? I think I kind of let go of chasing his opinion of me when I found God. Yeah, that really helped. Number 6, trust in God's timing, not your own. Don't rush the process. The world may make you feel like you're behind, but remember that God's timing is perfect. Now, this is something I have definitely struggled with. I always wanted things to go in a certain timeline. You might tell God you have a timeline, you have a deadline, and God will sit up there and laugh at you. He'll be like, girl, please, this ain't gonna happen for another 2 years. Like, what? Like, but God may be delaying your blessing because he knows you're not ready for it. He may be delaying your blessing because he knows you'll mess it up. I remember Steve Harvey was saying something. He was like, God didn't give me fame and fortune in my 20s or my 30s because he knows I would have messed it up. God didn't let me make it until I was 40, until I was responsible, until I could, manage money and show up to gigs and not blow everything up. And he was like talking about that, and it just stayed in my mind. It was like, God's going to give you what's for you when he knows you're not going to mess it up, when he knows you're done self-sabotaging, when he knows you're done doubting yourself, when he knows you're done doubting him. Then he's going to give you the blessing when he feels that it's ready. God's timing is perfect, okay? We may feel like it's not, but it's perfect, okay? God is always there. And I have to remind myself of this too, because sometimes I'll be speeding it up and be like, okay, y'all, I'm ready to be on ESPN. And God is like, girl, you're not ready yet, okay? Stick to the Alex Elamine show. Stick to your own thing. Stick to doing you, because you're going to mess up your blessing if I put you in front of the camera right now on national TV. And I'm like, okay, God, protect me. Number 7, prayer is powerful and transformative, okay? Never underestimate the power of talking to God. Prayer isn't just about asking for things. It's about building a relationship with him and growing closer to him every single day. Much prayer is much power. Do not underestimate the power of prayer. Sitting with God for 30 minutes about the thing that's stressing your heart out. It could be your finances, it could be your relationship, it could be your family, it could be school, it could be ever. Sitting with God for 30 minutes, getting all of your feelings out, even if it's just you sitting up there crying to God for 20, 30 minutes, has so much power in it. Because you get to leave that burden at the cross. You get to leave your emotions, your stress, your despair, your anger. You get to leave it with God. That's power within itself. Not to mention that you get to go to sleep at night knowing that God is working things out for you. Every night I go to sleep and I pray. I'll be like, God, let me sleep peacefully knowing that you're in heaven working things out for me. I can sleep peacefully because I know you're working things out for me. There have been some really trying, horrible times of my life, and I've cried my eyes out to God, and then I'll go to sleep because I know while I'm sleeping, He is working things out for my good. Prayer is powerful. Okay, it is the most powerful weapon. Number 8, forgiveness sets you free. Forgiveness is not about the other person, it's about your healing. Free yourself from bitterness by letting go of past hurts. Now, let me tell you this. That's probably one of the biggest ones. I struggled with forgiving people for years. I could not forgive people for the life of me. I didn't want to let it go. I didn't want to forgive. I wanted to hold on to my grudges. I wanted to be bitter. I wanted to keep it inside. I wanted to be angry. I wanted to be angry for a very long time. But God showed me that I have to forgive and let go in order to move on with my life. You are never going to soar and fly above it if you are letting it just stay in your heart. You can't, if you break glass on a kitchen floor, you think the glass is going to go away if you just put 2 pieces of cardboard around where all the glass is and just keep walking around it every day? The glass is never going to go away. You can walk around the glass, but it's eventually going to get to you. It's eventually going to cut you. And you're eventually going to get tired of it being there. Now, I struggle with forgiveness because some people have hurt me. Some people have cut me deep. I just talked about this guy that socially put me through the ringer. Like, it was horrible. But I had to forgive him. Several things have happened to him publicly. Some horrible things have happened to him. And a lot of people expected me to ha out of spite. But I don't want anything bad to happen to him. Greatness doesn't retaliate. No. No revenge, because that's not how Jesus treats me when I sin. Not only am I going to forgive you, but I'm going to show you love. You may have given me my deepest wound, my deepest cut, and I'm going to repay you with the love that Jesus shows me. That's what I'm going to do. I wish somebody had told me that because it really sets you free. I talked about this maybe a couple of weeks ago, how I forgave someone that I've talked about on here in not the nicest way. I had some issues with for a couple of years, and forgiving her felt so amazing. I saw her at school. I don't know if I mentioned this in an episode or not, but I saw her at school and we hugged each other in front of our friends just to, be funny and be like, oh, we get along, like, look at us hug, because, we had some beef for a while. Shout out to you, girl, if you're listening. And I just felt the physical burden of forgiveness just kind of like go away. Now, in that situation, we got to reconcile and move on and like each other and just be happy for each other. But that's not always going to be the case. Some people you can't do that with because they still unreasonable, because they still angry at you, whatever. But it's not for them. It's not for a relationship with them. It's not for any of that. Forgiveness is for you. Forgiveness sets you free. You don't forgive other people for them. You forgive other people for you. I am tired of being angry. I am tired of being sad. I'm tired of holding this grudge, okay? I'm quoting Speaking from the Heart by Fletcher. Today I decided to forgive you, okay? Not because you deserve it, but because my soul needs peace. I'm so sorry, guys. I hate crying on here. I really do. Like, I don't want to cry. It's just something that touches me so much. So please, like, if you're listening, like, forgive that person that hurt you. I have been through it. People I have loved thrown me in the gutter and left me to die, but God has brought me from every situation and not only restored what I lost, but given me 10 times more. There's no reason to be bitter anymore. There's no reason to be hurt anymore. There's no reason for me to hate, to hold any resentment in my heart anymore, because God's already fixed it. Forgive. Let it go. Your soul needs peace. Number 9, your body is a temple and respect it. This is going to be our last one for this episode. Honor your body and take care of yourself physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It's the only one you get. Now, I think when we say this, we think like, okay, don't drink or smoke or like have sex or whatever. But there are other ways you can honor your body. Don't compromise your body, I don't know, or put yourself in bad situations. Like, just take care of your body. Take care of your mind. Take care of what you put into your mind. Maybe censor the movies you watch. Don't watch a lot of movies with a lot of profanity or, sexual scenes or any of that stuff. Don't listen to a lot of music. You have to guard your heart and guard your mind. It says that in the Bible. I did a secular music cleanse. I did a social media cleanse. I need to do another one because I feel like I'm idolizing my phone again, guys. Like, oh my God. Like, it helps because it really guards your mind from those negative thoughts, those lustful thoughts, from any laziness, procrastination, or whatever. Just guard your heart and guard your mind. You only get one body. And your whole body, it's not just your physical body, but it's your soul, it's your mind, it's your heart. Guard it. Okay, so protect yourself, set boundaries with people, drink a lot of water, mind your business, pray. Pray, 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 and pray some more. And pray some more. Okay? You only get one body. Treat it like a temple, okay? Because it's not your body, it's God's body, okay? Treat God's body like the temple it is. Okay. I want to say thank you guys so much for listening to the first part of this episode of Literally My Life, My Guide to Girlhood. I am so excited. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, guys, so that you guys can comment on my birthday post. If you guys came from the podcast, comment happy birthday. What should you guys say? What should you guys say? Comment happy, or be like literally my birthday. That'll be it. If you're from the podcast, comment literally my birthday. Okay, on my Instagram post, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, hi, podcast bestie. Like, it'll be so fun. I'm so excited to turn 18. I love you guys so much. I cannot tell you guys how much this podcast means to me. Make sure to tune in to part 2. It's going to be a really good one. The way number 8 got me, I think number 10 through 17 will definitely get me. I'm just so excited to do the next one. I love you guys so much. Make sure to tune into our episode next week. Subscribe to all of our socials. Follow our social medias. And just stay in touch, okay? I love you guys so much. Mwah, mwah. That's it for today's episode of Literally My Life, My Guide to Girlhood. If you found this episode valuable, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. It helps more than you know. You can also keep up with me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, where I share even more insights, interviews, and behind-the-scenes moments. Remember, growth isn't always pretty, but every step forward is a step closer to the life you deserve. Keep showing up for yourself, keep striving, and as always, stay focused, stay fearless, and stay you. Until next time.